Why settle for less when you can see more with Flow? With Flow's digital video service, you get more channels, more customizable video packages, more flexibility with your personal video recorder. Pause, rewind, and record your favorite shows. In other words, we give you more so you can really enjoy the bigger picture.
Flow, watch, talk, click.
This is CC6 Newsnight Week in Review for May 6 to May 9, 2013. It was the week in which Grenada welcomed its first female Governor General. A new ambassador said he is not surprised at comments about his appointment. Mixed fortunes revealed for the next cruise ship season, and the new prison commissioner said changes have to be made at the management level for conditions at Richmond Hill to improve. In sports, not many supporters turn out for the annual Track Blazers Invitational Meet. Details when we return.
Have you heard the great news?
Of course, now you can talk as you like with Flow.
When we sign up right now for Flow's Talk As You Like, we can each get a free cordless phone.
Now I can talk to my friends and family on landlines in over 50 international destinations.
Plus, I can also talk to all my contacts in the USA, Canada, and India on landlines or mobile.
Sign me up. I'm going to talk as I like with Flow. Flow, watch, talk, click.
I am Kirani James, and Co-op Bank is my bank.
If prosperity really matters to you, come home to Grenada Cooperative Bank. Since 1932, we have shared the same values: financial diligence, investing with prudence, transparent compliance, consistent performance.
Welcome home, Grenada.
No matter the economic climb, we always stand the test of time.
Welcome home, Grenada, the bank that goes the extra mile. Welcome home, Grenada, the bank that serves with a smile.
Welcome to a bank you can truly call your own. Grenada Cooperative Bank.
We care because you matter.
Welcome home. It's a popular belief that all windows and doors are the same. But at St. Lou Metal, we know the difference. With true Grenadian craftsmanship and precision that gives the best quality and low guaranteed prices, you have a wide variety of windows and doors to choose from. Skylight windows, 2-half kitchen doors, aluminum doors with window inside and screen. We are the doors and windows people. St. Lou Metal, building number 19, Frequente Industrial Park. Call 439-6538.
Thanks for joining us. I am Samantha Williams. Governor General Her Excellency Dr. Cecile Lagranade is hopeful that her tenure as head of state involves more than ceremonial duties following her inauguration in the south of the island on Tuesday.
Dr. Cecile Lagranade took the oaths of allegiance in office before Justice Margaret Price Finley on Tuesday morning to become Grenada's 6th Governor General and the first female head of state since independence. The historic ceremony took place at the Grenada Trade Center and included fanfare and the playing of the national anthem by the Royal Grenada Police Force, as well as a 21-gun salute. In her inaugural address as head of state, Dr. Lagranade says she is looking forward to following in the footsteps of Dame Hilda Bino, the first governor when Grenada attained statehood status from Britain in 1967 and the first governor in the Commonwealth.
I am acutely aware of the historic nature of this appointment. Being the first female to serve as Governor General in the state of Grenada, I am deeply honored and humbled by the confidence placed in me with this appointment.
Her Excellency says her intention is to reach out to special interest and community groups and help to nurture the youths, especially young women.
I must confess that as I assume this office, I do harbor special feelings of keen interest in our youth, particularly in relation to our young women, and I cherish the importance of being placed in the future leaders of our nation as the success and overall development of Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique lie in their hands.
One of her personal desires, she says, is to address the devastating loss and deterioration of historic buildings, especially in the parish of St. George.
At the forefront is our famous York House, built in 1780, which, previous to its destruction, housed the House of Representatives, the Senate, and the Supreme Court. Secondly, constructed in the 1850s, the building known as Government House, the former residence and office of all persons who served as governors or governors general of Grenada until the passage of Hurricane Ivan in September 2004.
Prime Minister Dr. Keith Mitchell says the inauguration makes a bold national statement about the value placed on women leadership.
Our inauguration comes in the year that Grenadians elected the most women in the parliament of our country. It also comes in the year when we have been paying tribute to Lady Dame Hilda Bino, a trailblazer in her own right, who died earlier this year.
Dr. Lagrenade succeeds Sir Carlisle Glean, whose tour of duty began in 2008. Blossom Alexis Welsh, CC6 Newsnight.
In the coming weeks, the newly appointed Grenadian ambassador to China will take up his duties in the Asian country, and he says he's ready for the challenges despite harsh criticisms about his new position.
Former Minister of Foreign Affairs under the Tillman Thomas administration, Carl Hood, says he is not surprised by the backlash that has come following his recent appointment as Grenadian ambassador to China with the new government. Mr. Hood was appointed a Minister of Government when the Thomas-led National Democratic Congress won the 2008 general elections, but resigned last year, citing irreconcilable differences with the hierarchy of the party and administration. He then was a featured speaker on the platform of the new National Party during last February's election campaign, a move that sparked heated debate about his loyalty.
I'm not surprised, you know. Anybody who knows me knows that I stand for what I believe and I take responsibility for my action. It's not a matter of who's corrupt or who's not corrupt, because both sides have shown that they do things that can be called corrupt. So it's a matter of leadership. Who can lead this country? And as I said then, and I will still say it now, Tillman Thomas and Nazenberg can't lead this country. And whether or not, or if nothing came out of it, if I was never appointed or never asked to do anything, I would still be comfortable in my own spirit that I did what was right. And that is all I care about, so that people, whatever you do, people are going to talk.
Mr. Hood was among a list announced recently to serve at international embassies and high commissions.
My order of business is to do whatever the government wants me to do, to follow the directives that they give me. As a matter of fact, we have spoken about a few things. As I asked, I need to get a sort of roadmap as to exactly what I'm supposed to accomplish while there. And I have to meet again with the Prime Minister and also with the Minister for Foreign Affairs to get, as it were, matching orders.
He is also hoping to build the diplomatic relations that Grenada enjoys with the People's Republic of China.
First of all, the language. I've started to work on that, to at least try to converse a bit in Chinese. And secondly, having come out of a different situation in terms of the kind of relationship that we've had with China, and how do you build that trust? Because again, every country is going to support another based upon the level of relationship that exists. Not just because they want to, but because of the level of relationship. The challenge is to build a very strong relationship, or to nurture it, build it up much better.
He is expected to take up his duties in the coming weeks.
According to tourism officials, Grenada is expected to see another decrease in the number of cruise ship calls for the period 2014 to 2015. But one local agent says, on a good note, one cruise line will increase the number of calls to the Spice Isle.
The Royal Caribbean Cruise Line is projected to increase its number of calls to the Spice Isle for the 2014-2015 cruise ship season. In an interview with CC6 Newsnight on Monday, Director of Services Division at George F. Huggins, Lawrence Duncan, spoke of the good news.
Royal Caribbean made 24 calls this season, and they're making 28 calls next season. But the plan on paper so far for 14-15 is to make 44 calls. They are adding more of the Royal Caribbean product in Jewel of the Seas and Legend of the Seas. And they'll also be calling with the celebrity product. This is why the figures at this stage looks like 44.
He says, however, RCCL's increase does not mean a boost in a collective number of calls to Grenada from other cruise ships when next year's season ushers in. According to Mr. Duncan, the 2012-2013 season saw some 132 calls being made to Grenada. However, the projection for 2014-2015 is 106 cruise ship calls.
We need to look at the product. Every conference I go to, what you keep hearing is that the product is stale, the product needs to be refreshed, the product needs to be increased. We need to look at new tours, better tours. And when we say better tours and new tours, not just sit down and copy what the other islands have. You hear us talking about, oh, we need to look at a tram tour. But all the islands in the Caribbean have gone ahead, and they have that. They have so many other things that we need to look at in this country, that we can look at in this country and develop.
He says the just concluded season was also a tough one for not only Grenada, but most of the other countries in the region.
It has been a very flat season for us. Looking at, we have had drops. If you go back to 2008, 2009, we have been constantly having declines. And when I looked at the figures at the end of this season and compared 2008, 2009 as my base season, we had 84 calls less this year than we had in 2008, 2009. We had 32 calls less this year than we had last year. So that is telling you what is happening. And it's not only Grenada, but it is throughout the Caribbean. The only island that saw growth in 12-13 was St. Lucia.
The 2013-2014 cruise ship season gets underway in October, and a total of 129 calls are expected. Blossom Alexis Welsh, CC6 Newsnight.
When we return, renaming of Lauriston Airport in Carriacou still in the pipeline.
Only one dishwashing liquid can do the job. Quicks is the expert in taking out the toughest grease easily. You know you can trust it. Quicks cuts grease better. Full stop.
Digicel makes you smile. Free SMS, free international and local. Free magic number calls. Extra credit when you top up. Top up 10 or more and get rewarded for your top up. Digicel gives you more to keep you smiling. Get free SMS when you top up with $10. Magic number calls when you top up with $15. Free international once you top up with $20. Free local calls to all Digicel number. Extra credit for $30 or more. You get more. 10% bonus credit to do anything you want. Digicel makes you smile. Digicel, the bigger, better network.
Breeze removes stains in the first wash. The other detergents, not always. You have to wash it all again and use twice the amount. So, which one costs more? Do the math. Choose Breeze. Unbeatable stain removal.
The future, the gifted, the
talented. The Showdown. On Wednesday, 29th May, over 15 of Grenada's private primary schools will meet at the National Stadium for the Showdown.
Y'all ready for this?
The Ribena-sponsored private primary schools athletic championship at the National Stadium, Wednesday, 29th May, starting time 10 a.m. Can anyone defeat defending champions, the Grenada Junior Academy? Time will reveal. Be there. Children $3, adults $10. The future Olympians will be on show Wednesday, 29th May. The Ribena-sponsored private primary school athletic championship in collaboration with the Ministry of Youth and Sports.
Welcome back. The recently appointed prison commissioner says respect will have to be given to senior staff at the corrections facility if officers employed there are to execute their daily duties, which involve the rehabilitation of inmates.
The man given the task of managing the country's lone prison at Richmond Hill, Ashley Ram Folks, in a recent exclusive interview with CC6 Newsnight, says a number of cultural practices at the institution at the management level will have to change. For his men to do the job they were hired to do, Mr. Folks says proper equipment will have to be supplied to them. He says the days of second-hand equipment will be no more.
What's been going on in this place? When the police don't need a radio, and it become obsolete, it bring it down to the prison.
You get hand
down, not handouts. Handouts might be new. It's when it's not good anymore. I mean, how could you? I wouldn't accept that. If the government has this institution named the prison, and we had to function, we had to be given respect.
The prison commissioner says while he's not blaming the RGPF for the manner in which equipment gets to the prison, it has to end at some point.
I don't want no second-hand thing coming from anybody. I'm blaming the police, you follow? But it has been a culture. So I have the task of changing the mindset of people who are higher than me in relation to recognizing the level of what the prison should be and the dignity of my officers.
Mr. Folks says he believes in letting the public know what is taking place and how he intends to remedy the many problems faced at the institution.
I ain't going to try the negative if it's negative, but you have to be able to know the other side of it. You see, it would give my officers a restoration of dignity, right? A restoration of pride in their work. So these are some of the things I'm really looking at.
The prison commissioner says he's hopeful that his military training and method of discipline will be the main tools in taking back control of the institution, where the many challenges are made worse as a result of the overcrowding. Sherry Ann Noel, CC6 News.
Major projects are in the pipeline for the Sister Isles as the parliamentary representative for Carriacou and Petite Martinique pledges to do what he can to ensure the smaller islands are not forgotten in government's development plans.
Parliamentary representative for Carriacou and Petite Martinique, Honorable Elvin Nimrod, says a lot of development is in store for the Sister Isles in the coming weeks and months. The ruling New National Party held a community meeting in Carriacou last Sunday, and Mr. Nimrod says following an appeal for Cabinet to look at critical areas of healthcare on the Sister Isles, certain areas will soon see action being taken.
There's an extra machine. You heard me talk about the necessity of having an extra machine in Carriacou. So if someone has a problem, a broken bone, what have you, they do not have to run to Grenada to really diagnose the problem. They will stay right here. I mentioned about a blood analysis machine so that when the doctor take the blood and want to diagnose a problem, you don't have to send the blood to Grenada. Most times it's not picked up on time. It becomes contaminated, and so they have to do the blood again. I also talked about having a dentist permanently resident here in Carriacou and Petite Martinique. Someone had called me about a dermatologist, because they said at one time under the last NNP administration there was a dermatologist in Carriacou, and I asked for that as well. My friends, I am pleased to report today that the Minister of Health, the Chief Medical Officer, the Human Resource Officer, the Chief Nursing Officer was here on Friday and visited the Princess Royal Hospital and had made a commitment, of course, to have these facilities in Carriacou and Petite Martinique.
He says plans are also going full steam ahead for refurbishment and upgrade of the Lauriston Airport, and the facility will get some much-needed attention soon.
And my friends, the Lauriston Airport that you know for so long, in the last 4.5 years, how the past government was making false promises. I want to say to you, my friends, that we have had now the investor came up here, look at the facility, and very soon the Lauriston Airport will commence so that we can have the Dash 8 and so that we can have our people traveling on the plane in ease and with frequency. That is a government that is delivering, my friends.
P.T. Martinique will not be left out of the development of the Sister Isles, the MP says.
I am sure that you know that we have put an allocation in our budget to make sure that we do a brand new planes facilities for our youngsters in P.T. Martinique, because we realized it was unfair and the people, the youngsters of P.T. Martinique was disadvantaged in that they had to come down to Carriacou to practice. That was not fair. So very soon, and the $200,000 that was placed there, remember, our budget is what they call a holding budget, because we are already almost half of the year. So the allocations we have right now will be more than adequate for us to commence the facility. So you, the youngsters from P.T. Martinique, will able to have a facility so you can practice and compete, not only with Carriacou, but mainland Grenada.
MP Nimrod says discussions have been held with investors and the Grenada Post Authority in relation to the construction of a brand new jetty in Tyrrell Bay, Harvey Vale. Blossom Alexis Welsh, CC6 Newsnight.
Customers at the VAT office in the Ministry of Finance are being advised that payments will now have to be facilitated only at the financial complex, as officials of the office aim to improve its efficiency.
Effective Monday, the cash collection section, among other departments of the VAT office, has been relocated to the financial complex as government makes moves to reduce expenditure on rental of properties as announced in the 2013 budget. Individuals conducting business with the Inland Revenue Division can make payments of all taxes and licenses at the Ministry of Finance or any district revenue office throughout the island. Comptroller at the IRD, Pauline Peters, says the move is in an effort to also provide better efficiency of services.
The reason for the relocation would be the fact that in the 2013 budget, the Minister of Finance announced the fact that we're going to be cutting back on the amount of buildings that we rent. So that's one of the reasons for it. Added to that, the Inland Revenue is actually restructuring its operations along a more functional lines, so that eventually we would have had a situation where we would have all our functions operating within one particular location. For example, we have registration. Now you can go over to what we would call the VAT office and get registered. We had the audit division that was physically located over there. But what we're actually doing with the move is to bring all of those operations into the financial complex so that somebody who comes to deal with Inland Revenue would not have to go over to another building for one service and have to come back.
The audit unit and taxpayers relations are also among the departments relocated to the Ministry of Finance. However, Ms. Peters says there are still some services being provided at the previous office.
Over at Young Street for this week at least, and we're hoping to try to get the rest of them moved during the course of this week, you have the collection section, and you said cash collection, and it should be interpreted in the context of collecting cash, because we have a functional unit called collection. That is the tax collectors who would go out in the field and make the necessary collection from taxpayers. They are still physically located in the VAT office for the rest of this week.
With the relocation, the IRD has also put in place 4 cashiers, which also improves the smooth flow of payments at the department. Blossom Alexis Welsh, CC6 Newsnight.
Coming up in Sports on 6, GFA hosting 2 football coaches from the UK.
Cool me down. Nothing can hard in my country. So I open up bakery. Yes.
Hey, in order that I should marry.
When did you jump, soca? Friendliest people you'll ever meet. Wise man with black stone beside him.
Live on Community Channel 6 every Saturday, 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. It's Sound System Saturday.
Grenada, you are being watched by the hardest hitting commentary team ever assembled, and they tell you as they see it every Monday at 8 p.m. on Community Channel 6. Watchdog.
Biting commentary.
A biting commentary. Repeat broadcast Saturdays at 8 p.m.
Biting commentary.
Welcome back. Track and field action was at the best in St. David when the St. David Trackblazers Sports Club staged its annual Track and Field Invitational Meet at La Sagesse in St. David on Saturday. President of the Trackblazers Club is Kwame Hippolyte.
Just looking at the response from the public, it's much greater than last year. In terms of the representation from teams, we're somewhat disappointed in that. Yes, we understand that it's way after the Intercall, the major track meets, but we have to get out from the notion that Intercall is the last meet of the year and that track and field ends at Intercall. Track and field right now should be heading at the hype of the season, and we need to get away from that.
He says the club has seen some improvements in their athletes, and they will be working to keep this momentum going.
From here, we're having a meeting with our parents. We're going to start our preparation, start our reorganization for the next year. We have our annual general meeting, which is going to be in July, the last week of July, which we're going to have an elections of officers. Then we are going to be launching our environmental program, where we'll be taking care of one area in the La Sagesse area. Likewise, we'll be shooting up further with our kids athletics program, which would have started a few weeks now, and the number of kids in the program would have been growing from strength to strength.
3 clubs, 1 secondary, and the primary schools within the parish of St. David all participated in the event. However, Mr. Hippolyte says the number of clubs have significantly decreased. 2 English coaches arrived in Grenada last week Monday to assist the Grenada Football Association with development for 2 weeks.
John Dewick, who is a coach, and Katie Parker, strength and fitness coach of Championship League Watford Football Club in the United Kingdom, are expected to participate in several sessions with the national boys and girls youth teams, as well as store facilities and undertake a workshop with local coaches. Dewick says he can only see great things happening for football in Grenada.
Standard here on the island compares closely to back in England. What they've got here is that desire and that passion to do really well in the game, and I would recommend it to coaches, parents, players, anywhere where you can play football, anything you can do to improve yourself, whether it's down the beach, with Andre, school. I'd recommend you just to play and get yourself out there kicking a ball.
Technical Director and Interim General Secretary of the GFA, Lester Smith, also spoke about the visiting coaches.
One of the high points of their visit this week will be the journey over to Carriacou and Petit-Martinique to meet with officials there, and also to do some work with the coaches, and to be part of a football festival on Saturday at the Hillsborough Ground in Carriacou. I think it's a wonderful experience to have Watford here. Only a week before, we had the Chelsea coaches visiting, and they selected 3 players for the regional Chelsea clinic in Barbados sometime later on this year. I think it's in October. So Watford, we're happy. Katie Parker and John Dewick have expressed their intentions to come back again to Grenada.
They met with the under-17 girls, under-20 girls, under-16 and under-18 boys.
And that's all we have for you in Sports on 6. A recap of the headlines is next. Recapping the headlines, it was the week in which Grenada welcomed its first female Governor General. A new ambassador said he's not surprised about the comments made about his appointment. Mixed fortunes revealed for the next cruise ship season, and the new prison commissioner says changes have to be made at the management level for conditions at Richmond Hill to improve. And in sports, not many supporters turn out for the annual Trackblazers Invitational Meet. That brings us to the end of CC6 Newsnight Week in Review for May 6 to May 9, 2013. Top stories from CC6 Newsnight can also be seen on our Facebook page, Flow Community Channel 6. On behalf of the news team, I'm Samantha Williams. Thank you for joining us.